Okay, David, shall we start?
Yes. So Sting will make an introduction in Chinese first, and then I'll start the presentation.
OK，非常欢迎今天大家播出时间在晚饭之后的这个时间，美西晚7点，美东已经晚上10点的这个时间来参加我们的今天的这个联合讲座。那么我们是北美家长资源分享群，我是今天的这个主持人 Sting。那我们的这个资源分享群的话，主要是为我们所有在北美地区的所有的家长提供一个非常好的一个资源的一个分享的一个场地。那我们会邀请很多的哈耶普斯麻背景的这种导师，提供他们的一些 special program， 一些特殊的项目。就好比今天我们的邀请到的这个主讲人 David 朱博士，他自己本身是斯坦福工程管理硕士计算机系的博士，那也是最早搞人工 AI 跟机器人的第一波人之一了。因为朱博士80几年就开始入读我们的这个斯坦福，90年代初就已经开始就是毕业之后就开始办自己的第一家教育科研的这个机器人的公司。那之后呢，就是我们的 David 朱博士呢，还创办了另外2家公司，一个是 Motion Factory， 还有另外一个是关于 digital 方面的一个 Faces 的，我记得是。那这2家公司呢，也都被美国的上市公司收购。那么之后呢，14年我们的朱博士又回归教育，继续就是创办关于跟计算机思维、人工智能普及相关的一个内容。那我们今天所聊到的这个内容，也是跟AI 智能有关系的一个很重要的一个话题。那我们最近2年呢，都是AI 非常热的一个情况。那大家对于未来我们孩子到底还要不要选择计算机这个专业要不要选择这个计算机工程方面的这些专业？那未来的这个专业方向是怎么样？然后现在我们还可以做哪些事情？我们怎么成为 AI 的主人？那今天我们都有幸让David 博士来跟我们去做一些分享。Okay, so I'll move the host to David. Okay.
好，谢谢 Sting. Okay, so as Sting mentioned, so in Chinese, so I started learning AI many years ago. So I went to Stanford in the mid in the mid 80s. So it's a great time to learn AI at the time because Stanford, the founders of AI, so John McCarthy, Nielsen, the people who created this field of AI were still teaching there. So I have the fortune to actually learning from the people who actually created AI. And as many of you know, that Stanford is a very entrepreneurial school, and almost everybody in there have some idea about starting a company. So I did the same thing. So when I was at Stanford, a student, I started my first company. We actually make robots. So it's the first robot company that provide robots for education and research, and we sold it globally. Obviously many in the U.S., in Japan, and Europe. But unfortunately, when I finished Stanford, get my degrees. I finished in 92. AI is not very useful. It's definitely not as useful as today. So I end up being in a situation where I have to create my own job because it's not like today where you say, okay, I major in AI, I can find a job in AI. It's not that. So I have to create my AI, my job. And at the time, in the mid 90s, the best application of AI is in computer gaming. So in fact, if you look at NVIDIA today, probably the biggest company in the world, in the 90s, they are a small company making video card for computer games. And that's how they grow to today from that. So I provided technologies and service to a game company for many years. And then about 10 years ago, now it's a little bit more than 10 years ago, realizing how important computer science is, and how I believe that if you have to wait till you go to college to learn computer science, it's a little bit too late. So then I go back to education. In fact, I went back to Stanford. I taught the first class with this curriculum at Stanford University, and then also at Stanford Pre-Collegiate. to middle and high school student. So the whole idea, how do you bring AI and computer science education to younger students, right? So when you're in high school and even middle school, now, in elementary school, right? So you need to get exposure to this very important field. So quickly agenda for today. So I know, it's already late, so I want to make it, as succinct as possible. 4 topics. Everybody, I don't think you need to be convinced that AI is the new electricity. So this phrase was made popular by Andrew Ng, a professor at Stanford, many years ago. And I think today there's certainly no argument, right? AI is the new electricity. So I explain what that means, right? Hopefully you guys know what it means. But the most important thing is, how do you make AI really useful to you? So AI has been around for a long time, but why is this suddenly AI becoming so important, so relevant? So AI agent is really the thing that's driving and powering all this, current generation of AI revolution. So AI agents, right? That's the topic. What it is, why is it so important? And more importantly, for most of the parents in the audience, they're concerned about education, right? But education is about preparing the student for the future. So if the future is changing, AI is definitely disrupting education. So what does that mean? As a student, as a parent, what should you care about? And finally, I'll introduce, the summer program. Hopefully, this is something that makes sense. It's an opportunity for the student to be preparing for the future. So AI is a new electricity, right? So what I would do, I would do the presentation in English, and then, well, I'm bilingual, so I can also mention some keyword in Chinese. So hopefully, would be helpful for some of the Chinese parents. So I believe, the meaning for AI is a new electricity has 3 levels, right? One is ubiquitous, means everywhere in our life, right? We live with it, we work with it, right? Disruptive, it would change everything. So we have started to see that it's changing everything, right? But we're still early. So some parents say, some students say maybe we're too late. No, we are in the very, very early stage of AI. 20 years later, you look back and say, we were at the beginning of AI, right? Or at least, very early. 所以 AI 是一个新的电源，它无所不在，就没有什么地方它是不会存在的，而且呢，它会改变一切。但是呢，最重要是我们还处于特别的早期。So we look at, so obviously all these things started with ChatGPT, right? So ChatGPT, you may think, this is almost a lifetime ago, right? It was only 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, right? ChatGPT announced. What ChatGPT does for us is that it bring AI closer to us, right? So it let us know, AI is not that far away. They make us can see AI and realize how powerful it is, because we can use it to create pictures, we can use it to write essays. Parents may be using it to write employee reviews, students use it to write essay. But AI is expensive. So about a few months ago, right at the time of last Christmas, there's a company in China called DeepSeek announced that, we can do AI similar quality, much, much lower cost. This is significant because when you bring down the cost, then it allows much more application, what we call democratizing AI. So not only the rich company, the large company can use AI, everyone. So it really opened up the application. But we put this together, you can see, even though a lot of things has happened, but again, I want to emphasize that this is just the beginning. So we start seeing, because of that, right? Because of that, we start seeing that AI adoption is accelerated. 就 AI 的应用在加速 many industries, right? So today it's difficult to find some industry is not touched by AI. I only give some example, right? Automobile, manufacturing, gaming is definitely one of the area. Because it's much easier to use AI, the cost is lower, than many, many industries start finding application, right? And again, I want to emphasize, you're just seeing the very, very beginning of it. The bad news is that while AI is also disrupting the job market, right? So this Harvard MBA was just just a review was I think a month ago. So the survey or the research said 23% of Harvard MBA after 3 months, there's no jobs. They didn't find a job. And I have similar, I have obviously I have friends at Stanford faculty, even Stanford undergraduate in engineering, computer science, having trouble finding jobs. And you probably read on the news, Meta is laying off, and Salesforce, there's a very interesting interview of the CEO. They say we don't hire at least for the next year. So AI 是在基本层面上在改变了这个整个就业市场。So the question is that where all the job went, right? So there's the prediction. In fact, this prediction was made by a Chinese AI researcher, Li Kai-fu. So Li Kai-fu announced, predicted that this is many years ago, in 2017. He said 50% job would be replaced. At the time, people say, well, he's crazy, right? But today, if you look at it, I don't think it's crazy. So, but remember, I want to quantify that. There are jobs, not 50% not 50% workers. The type of job will be replaced by AI. 工作没有了. So then what type of job? Anything repetitive, anything knowledge-based, anything that has to do with data analysis. Those jobs would be easily replaced by AI. So if you get a deeper understanding of AI, you understand why, right? So replaced either by virtual AI, like AI, virtual agents, right, software, or by physical agent, robots. So those jobs will be gone. So I'm going to quickly, to summarize in Chinese. 所以大家都在讲这个 AI 是新的电流。那新的电流意思说它是无所不在的。所以我们看到在最近这2年，看到 AI 在各个行业的应用在加速。它会基本上会颠覆很多这种行业。特别是那些重复性的以前这种好像在做银行的数据分析的很多以知识为重点的这种工作都会被取代掉。重复性的工作包括你要安装东西要去放东西这种就机器人能够重复的工作也会被取代。但是反过来讲 ，AI 会带来很多机会。所以问题是，作为一个家长或作为一个学生，你怎么去想办法把自己放在一个地方，能够去很好的把握住这个机会。So then you say, okay, what happened, right? So then everybody's blaming AI agent. So it is. So it's AI agent is the thing that causing all this disruptive change. So obviously, it all started with ChatGPT, which we know as generative AI. So what exactly is AI agent, right? So we need to understand a little bit about prompt engineering, 提示语, right? So many of you heard prompt engineering. So what is prompt engineering? So we know that, ChatGPT, the brain, is called LLM, large language model, 大语言模型, right? So normally in the very beginning, right, you just say, do this for me, write me an essay, generate me a picture, right? Or you ask a question. Then the brain would, this is called zero shot, right? Just the brain would, the LLM would give you an answer. But then we realize that a lot of time they don't give you the right answer right away. So then you say, okay, so then now you are in the situation, you need to further instruction, right? So I call them, you need to start teaching, right? So think of the AI, it's like a brain, a very, very smart child, right? But the brain is very smart. Right? But sometimes it doesn't really do what you want. You need to start teaching it. So prompt engineering at the very base level is about you teaching the language model. So you kind of put them in the loop, right? Put them in a loop. So that's basically, what prompt engineering. You say, oh, this is not right. Try this, right? Or try 3 things and then pick the best one and then try again. So you're basically teaching, right? You're teaching the language model in a way so that you can do the right thing for you. So then the problem is that you, as a prompt engineering, you are the teacher, right? You're the teacher. And you provide instruction to the LLM. Now, obviously, if you are in the loop, then you can teach this and then you go on and say teach something else, right? So you are still involved. You're tied to this teaching job. But what will be great if you can make this automatic, right? So like self-driving car, AI agent is about removing 把这个人在这个循环里面取代掉了，move the pupil away from the loop. So the AI agent can do this thing by itself. So AI agent can work autonomously, right? Autonomously, you give a goal. You say, "Oh, find me for example, one of the students did this thing called the vacation planner." You say you can tell the agent said, "Oh, I want to have this type of vacation. I'm interested in this. I have a budget. I have a time constraint." Then the agent would go do his work, right, and come back to you with either one or two or three different itinerary. So you don't have to do it. The AI agent can achieve that by itself. So that's why it's so powerful. Just imagine now, you can put many AI agent, right, to work for you. You are no longer constrained by your own time. So we can look at from a slightly different perspective. So there's AI agent is not new. It's not like something that ChatGPT came in. AI agent was invented at the very beginning when AI started. In fact, the concept was started with robots. So you can think AI agent, if you look at the second point, right? Anything that can perceive, can see the environment or get information from the environment, can then think and then do something to an environment. That's an AI agent. So when you think an air conditioner that you use at home, 空调是一个 AI agent. So air conditioner, yeah. Obviously a vacuum cleaning robots and an AI agent, right? So because it can get some information from the environment and then make some decision and then do something to an environment. Now, why is AI agent suddenly becoming so popular, so important? Well, because with the LLM, the brain becoming so much more powerful, right? So then the other way you look at AI agents is that you augment, you connect the LLM, the brain, right? The brain with the outside world, right? By getting information and then by connecting so you can do something to the real world. With real-time data, the ability to use tools, right? So the AI agent can make reservation on a website, right? On a website or can look for information on the airplane's flight, schedule, the cost, but then can also make your booking if you want. So AI agent, I believe that would be the most important thing for in enabling AI to be useful. So it's the thing about today, you cannot live without app. Your phone has many apps, your computer has many apps. So the smartphone becoming so useful because all the apps, millions of apps. I believe will be the same thing for AI agent. There'll be millions and millions of AI agents, each one to do the thing. You can, in fact, I am creating many AI agents to do different things for me. Everyone should create their own AI agent to do different things. So the nice thing about creating an app is very difficult creating an app, right? So you buy an app, you download an app. But then the good news with AI agent is that you can actually, create your own, well, much easier. So that's really what would allow you to harness the power of the AI agent, right? So given that, today we already seeing AI agents is definitely growing, right? And in the future, there will be possibly more. I wouldn't say more in terms of number. AI agent will be everywhere. You live with AI agent, right? And they can be your tutor, they can be your co-worker, they can work in the business for you as a CFO, and as part of our summer program, it can be your co-founder. It helps you to start business. So AI agent, it will become prevalent as AI becoming more useful. So I quickly summarize this in Chinese, right? So AI agent 的中文名字一般叫智能体或者有些人叫代理。它其实这个概念，其实我觉得智能体可能更加合适。智能体的是说把大语言模型的能力能够释放出来，因为它可以把这个这提示语是吧？提示语工程师这个工作，就我们一般好，如果没有 agent 的话，你还是要去就像做搜索那样 ，Google 那样 ，you have to search right and you have to think。AI agent 能够取代了这个工作，帮助你给他一个任务，AI agent 自己就可以去完成任务，因为智能体能够把这个大语言模型跟 我们的现实世界结合起来，真正的帮助你去解决各种各样的问题。这样的话，接下来我们的生活和工作里面会有大量的智能体的出现。更重要是，每个人是吧？学生甚至学生我自己，我们都可以做我们想要的智能体，啊，就针对某一个需求或者某一个项目，我们可以做自己的智能体，可以把它用起来。所以智能体有可能是我们的老师是吧？有可能是我们的tutor 是吧？助教或者就是那个有可能是我们的同事。你可以成为这个，有可能是我们的员工是吧？就是不用给钱的员工甚至我们的创业伙伴。So obviously, all this is changing. AI, so AI agent becoming so important, right? So you never heard of AI agent. I think many of you probably never heard of AI agent, a few years ago, maybe not even today. So the problem is that this is changing, since it's changing and disrupting the job market, it fundamentally is changing the education market or in changing education. I believe AI has the most significant impact on education in both good and bad way, right? So in good way, it can help, education, right? In bad way, a lot of stuff that we are learning at school today, the way that we learn it is obsolete, right? So just think, if you work and study like a robot, well, most likely you will be replaced by a robot, right? So that's kind of, hopefully it's obvious, right? So if you're doing something repetitively, you just focus on taking exam, you probably heard that, AI is much better than taking exam. So the problem is that today in school, it's knowledge based. So you memorize a lot of things, right? And you value knowledge, experience, right? But we all know AI has a lot more knowledge than any of us, or maybe even us combined, right? So what is really important? So what I call those USB style, you store things, right? But what we really need is creativity, also probably more creative problem solving, and creative problem solving using technology. That becoming the most important skill. So what I call the app style. So it really fundamentally changed the education from a knowledge-based education to a skill-based education, particularly around certain type of skill. So unfortunately, in school today, you are trained to answer questions, right? So teacher asks question, you answer. But that's not very useful, because just think, if the teacher asks you a question, most likely, almost 100%, there's already an answer for it. So ChatGPT knows the answer, right? You can search for it. So learning to how to ask the right question, all discovery, all innovation coming from asking the right question. Creativity, it comes from curiosity. So second thing is really important. You need to learn how to use technology to help you solve problems. Many students learn computer science, learn programming, but not many of them I have seen that use computer science and programming to help them solve practical problem, whether to help them solve a physics problem or math problem. They just learn it. They learn technology, not how to use technology. So if you look at innovation, what is innovation? It's about first discovering the problem, new problems, and then find a way to solve the problem. This solution does not exist before. You need to learn to develop and discover it, right? So that's where innovation comes in. And in the age of AI, innovation becoming critical. So as I mentioned earlier, right, there's a lot of opportunity in AI. Why is that? What we call AI has a long tail. So if you look at this long thing, it's very, very long. Because the cost of using AI has dropped so much, right? It's so easy to use AI. Like I said, I create AI agent to help me to plan vacation. Some students use AI agent to help them, to motivate them, right? AI agent to find, I give you more example, to find a music group or content they like. AI has many applications, what we call the long tails. But the opportunity lies in is X plus AI. I work with many startup companies and entrepreneurs. Many of them start thinking, oh, AI plus X. So, oh, AI is very powerful. Let me see what can I do with it. No, it's the other way around. You first need to identify what's the problem you want to solve, and then you know enough AI. It's important that you know enough AI so that you can know how to solve the problem. In fact, knowing enough AI is the foundation for you to help you to discover the right problem. But the right problem should be the center. So X plus AI, not AI plus X. So now the question, how do you discover X, right? So how do you discover X? It's all about this entrepreneurial mindset. Entrepreneurial, many think, oh, entrepreneurial is very serious. You start a company, you raise money, you make a lot of money, or you fail, you lose a lot. No, entrepreneurial is a mindset that we can have. Every day we have, we can use and we can have this mindset. It's about your willingness to take risks. It's about you are aptitude for questioning. You want to question, is this right? Or instead of accepting, right? Oh, this is always right. Questioning. You are able to take risks. You are looking for problems to solve, not happy with the solution. You're accepting failure. It's okay to fail, right? Because if you are afraid to fail, you're not an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurial mindset becoming much more important in the age of AI. Obviously, it's always important. And in fact, started with Stanford. I did not find a job. I did not work for a company. For the last 35 years, I keep coming up with my own idea and my own companies, right? Because once you get into a mindset, it's very natural, very natural. But putting yourself in the mindset becoming more important in the age of AI. So we start seeing two emerging trend, right? Emerging trend. The rise of teen entrepreneurs. So in fact, in the interview with Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, he mentioned one thing. He said young people are the best, or at least in the best position. They're more natural in accepting new technology. So just if you're parents in the audience, if you don't know how to use a phone or some feature, I ask my kid, oh, how do you do that? Oh, they say, pop, 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 this is how you use it. Because they are born with those technology. Their mindset is right. So it makes sense, right? That teens, young people are very good with innovation. So now to start a business is very difficult, right? So you need to know a lot of stuff, a lot of programming, a lot of stuff. But with the internet, now with the AI technology, there's so much power for the young people, for the teenage to use. In fact, today, you can create AI agent with no programming background, right? No, you don't need to even know how to program in Python and C++. So enable them. So the question is you need to learn how to build up the know-how and then the entrepreneurship. So we start seeing. So Alexander Wang is obviously a well-known in AI. He dropped out of MIT. He started a company Scale AI 19. And you can hear, there's even many of Zuckerberg, obviously started Bill Gates. So young people are really at the best position to do innovation. Second, either big company or small company, even startups are using AI agent as their workers or co-workers. So that's why you start seeing a lot of jobs being displaced. But at the same time, you can start something, you can do something with much less resource. You don't need to look for human CFO or human marketing. You can use AI to help you with that as well. So I'm going to quickly summarize this, right? So 这个 AI 是给教育带来了在最基本上一个革命的改变。传统的教育是你要学知识，要记住刷题是吧？刷题因为考试。AI 的考试的能力肯定是比人高很多。虽然如果你还是需要考试，那你还是要做，但是呢，这个肯定不是未来需要的一个技能。最重要是你要学会怎么去用 AI。能够用 AI 的人，他的能力会被放大几十倍、几百倍。但是你要学会用 AI 的话，你必须要懂得 AI。因为你就是像跟一个朋友沟通的话，你必须要清楚 这个朋友是哪里来的，他的背景什么。同样的，如果你要想跟 AI 把它用 AI，你必须对 AI 有深入的了解，它是怎么构成的，是吧？然后你要学会去制造这个，去建这个智能体，学会去用，去管理它们，去调用它们。所以AI 智能体变成一个很核心，你会做它，而且要把它用起来。所以你一旦有了这个能力的话，那在 AI 的时代，这个创新和创业的能力和这种态度，其实更重要的是态度，就变成越来越重要了。Okay, so finally, the last session, so if all this makes sense to you, well, if it doesn't make sense, then I guess you don't have a pace. If this makes sense to you, then the question is, how do we, as a high school student, right, or even some of the younger, I have some students in middle school, how do I get prepared, right, for this future? I mentioned we are still very, very early, so don't think, oh, it's already too late to get into this AI. We're still very early. If you look back 10 years later, you say, oh, we are so fortunate that we are in the early stage. But there's a lot of misconception, right? So I teach AI, obviously in the Silicon Valley. I'm currently in Korea, but then I was in Japan. I spent a lot of time in China, and I was in India for teaching AI last summer. So I see teaching AI everywhere, but there's a misconception. A lot of parents, even in the Silicon Valley, think learning AI is learning about programming language. Well, that's not true before, and certainly not true now. Now you can program a computer without, with prompt engineering. You don't even need to know the language. But the thinking, the computational thinking is important. Now, the second misconception is, oh, I need to learn some tool, how to use a vision system, how to use a language, using some capability of AI. Now, it's okay that you use capability AI every time we use a phone, right? Using Siri, you're using AI, right? But you're not understanding AI. So what's the important thing is that you need to learn how to communicate with AI, because whether you want to create an AI agent or you want to manage an AI agent, or you want to, just like the same way, you want to manage human worker, you need to communicate, right? So the most important thing is that you need to learn how to communicate better with AI. Now, in order to do that, then you need to learn how AI think, right? It's just the same way. If you want to communicate with a human, you want to know your coworkers, you want to communicate with your parents, or parent want to communicate with the kid. You need to understand how your kid think. If you don't understand how your kid think, you communicate, the communication there's no effect. So the way that I look at learning AI, and I've been teaching this for this is the third time now in the summer. There, I call it 3 steps, and or 3 components. First, you need to understand the foundation, right? So what is a language model? What's generative AI? What's neural network? So because how is this brain? How is this ChatGPT, the brain, constructed? That's the first. Second, how do you make it useful? That's AI agent, right? How do you wrap this, what we call the agentic architecture, around the LLM, around the brain, so that you can make it do different things, right? The last thing, how do you use the agent, right? How do you now use the agent for practical application? Whether it's to, you can be something that helps, your personal interest, in the business, solving some problem, practical problem. So those are the 3 steps I believe are critical a knowledge and skill that you need to acquire. So that's actually what motivates the organization of the summer program. So in summer, so it actually turns out, I decided to do it in 3 weeks. And summer is a great time for students to be exposed to something new. They have the time, hopefully they have more time, right? Exposed to this very important area of technology innovation. Many people, I think almost everybody, from the CEO of Microsoft to a traditional company investment, they all say, we have not seen anything like AI today. People who are older than me, right? They have not seen anything this disrupted, this powerful in their lifetime. And I believe so. So it's so important. You need to at least understand what it is and how to use it. So giving the 3-step, the summer program also organizes as a 3-step, right? Step 1, we learn the basic foundation of AI. The building block is called perceptron, right? how, what perceptron is, what the neural network is, how do you do prompt engineering, right? So understanding the building block of AI and how do you interact with it. And the second part of it, the second week, is about understanding the brain now. How do you make the brain work for you, useful, right? So how do you create, what is AI agent? How do you create one? In fact, you can publish an AI agent. And you may think, oh, AI agent is so sophisticated. No, you can actually make AI agent quite easily, right? You with the tool, with the understanding. Now, once you understand how you make AI agent, then you can make AI agent work for your specific purpose. What we call the AI powered startup. So this startup is not where you think, oh, I need to start something and make $1 billion. No. Anything. A lot of my students, I'll give you some examples, they just have some interest, some passion. AI can help you, right? So finding the problem you want to solve, the ability to identify problem, the pain point, and then find a solution, that is the skill that is most important, what we call the entrepreneurial skill set. And that's the last part of this program is giving the student the ability, right, the structure to take their technical know-how and use it. And many parents has, so obviously, like what are the deliverable, right? So every part has its own deliverable, right? So the first part, we have a mini research project. Train the student to discover things. The skill set is very important. How do you discover, right? By exploring, not just listening to the teacher. So we have a mini research project. And then we learn how to make an AI agent, right? For whatever interest you have, you can create an AI agent and you can share it, you can publish it. And finally, the last deliverable is a business plan, right? It's a simple business plan. In fact, you can use AI agent to help you to create this business plan. So how do you create a business plan for your AI powered startup? So that's the capstone project, right? At the end, after 3 weeks. So obviously 3 weeks is very short. So some parents say, well, can this be published? No, I mean you can't really do it. But most importantly, this lay the foundation. So I'll give you a little bit more like how this can be used in the more. So the way that the class is being taught is that there'll be lecture, right? About 2/3 of the time is a lecture. I will give lecture every day. And then the student would be breaking up into smaller group to work with a TA, and obviously I'll be involved to do project, either work individually or as a group, and to if they have any questions, the TAs or myself can answer questions. And then every week on Friday, the student would present their work, right? Either research paper or AI agent or the business plan. So that's overall structure. So now obviously questions like what is this program? Who is it good for? Many parents asking, oh, do we need to know programming? Now, if you have programming background, I do have about half the students have programming background. They have learned, in fact, some of my students are competition, right? USICO competition. So, but it's not necessary. So it's really your interest, your creative mind is more important. So I wouldn't recommend any elementary school student. I would say rising 8th grader. So the last summer, the youngest student was a rising 8th grader. Many of them are 9, 10, 11 graders. If you're interested in how AI would impact your future, in fact, they do something, can find that is impacting the study now. You're interested in how AI can help you entrepreneurial journey. Those would be ideal for the student. So quickly, some example, right? So this is from last summer, and then I'm currently teaching a class as well. So one of the students, he created an AI agent. He has specific problem. His elderly grandmother or grandfather have health problem. So then they always worry, oh, should I go to see a doctor? Should I not see a doctor? Should I see a doctor? So he created an AI agent, a chatbot that the grandparents can talk to the chatbot and giving them the information so that the parent, the chatbot can say, okay, you are okay, or you should consider this, or maybe you should consider calling the doctor. And the chatbot actually learn from the communication. Another student did something very differently, Claire. So she's a board game. She really liked to play board game. So she's frustrated. Not many board games available. So she created an AI agent to create board games for her. Very interesting. So actually do the graphics and design and so on. And then some people do the one of the students, Jeffrey, did this business plan for a basically a vacation planner tour guide, right? So he has some idea, he gives the agent some idea like where to go, right? So he has that requirement himself. Every summer he need to plan vacation, and then when you go there, how do you actually do different things? So he created a tour guide kind of business. Another student, she's basically is a straight kid. I think it's a K-pop music fan, and she created a platform, basically how to organize those content for the fans. So they're all, within short time, they all done something very creative. And the important thing is that they did something that go with their passion. They're really interested in something, and they see how AI can be helpful in solving their own personal problem. But obviously, like I said, 3 weeks, very short. But I have students who taking the class earlier. They have taken it much further. So Lucas, he's currently in Menlo, one of the top private schools in the Silicon Valley. So he took what he learned in AI agent, and he actually worked for a patent law firm, a trademark law firm, to create something that can allow the client to basically come up with a name that's easier to be trademarkable, right? So, and in fact, the company put his product and let the client use it. So very useful project. And Kevin actually is one of the older students. Now he's already at Stanford. He was actually accepted both MIT and Stanford last year, and he chosen to Stanford. He continued to learn through AI. So he actually trained with me with USICO. And then later on, this is actually before ChatGPT, he was able to train a neural network to do early detection of Parkinson's disease. So very obviously, much more sophisticated. But the good news is today with the AI agents and the agent builder, you don't need this technical background or know-how anymore. This kind of thing can be much easily doable with the language model, with the agentic architecture. But you can actually take this much deeper if you have the foundation and then you are willing to take the next step. So just a quick summary, right? So why do you want to do this summer program? If I can summarize it in one word, it's really you want to become better friends with AI. I don't think anybody want to argue that, right? So AI is everywhere. You live with AI. So I think it's better for you to become better friend. So better friend comes from better understanding. Better understanding lead to better communication, and better communication lead to more effective interaction. So that's really, if you say why do we learn that, right? Okay, so let me quickly summarize in Chinese. 传统教育就是你在学校里面的，甚至一些学校的课外，跟 AI 的需求、AI 的发展是严重脱轨的。所以我们之前说就编程教育那个脱轨，其实那个时已经脱轨了，但是在 AI 时代是完全脱轨了。那如果学生觉得，那这个因为 AI 对这个学生的学习、升学和未来都影响很大，那就怎么去利用这个暑期的时间，去掌握这个新的技术，不光掌握这个技术是什么，还去把它用起来。所以这个3周的这个暑期班是这样的，是理论和实践的结合，光是理论没用，你不用它是没用的。所以第1周我们是学习这个最基础的，这个 AI 到底是怎么回事，神经网络、大语言模型是怎么回事。第2个阶段呢，就是说好，我们把它用起来，要把这个神经网络、大语言用起来，就是去搭建这个 AI 智能体。所以学生会学怎么搭建你智能体，解决各种各样他们觉得有趣的问题。那在这个基础上，就会到下一步，怎么去把这个技术上的这些能力，能够把它扩大，做一个这个 AI 创业，是吧？怎么去利用技术去帮助你是一个爱好也好，一个需求也好，就我们说的 AI 创业。所以这种我觉得是在 AI 时代这几个 方面的能力是特别重要的。这个一方面，当然你可以帮助你，大家很关注就升学，但其实对你以后的学习，甚至更以后的就现在的学习或者更以后的这个工作，是一个很重要的一个基础。So so that's it. So we'll obviously Q&A, but let me pass back to Sting to do a quick summary, and this some of the things that for their parents. Sting.
OK，谢谢您David。可以就是您把您的那个共享关掉，我共享一下我的这边的 PPT。好，那接下来大家有任何问题都可以在我们的那个对话框里面就是提出您的问题，然后我这边会重新共享一下。那么，在这个我们在6月30号到7月18号的话，会有我们的 AI 智能代理和青少年创业暑期营的这个课程，由 David 教授不 David 博士来去主讲，来去带着学生在一个暑期的一个时间段学习 AI 智能代理，还有我们讲的这个企业家精神的一个 mindset，我们的一个思维模式，这个非常的重要。那大家在对话框里提问题的同时呢，我这边也会采访一下David 博士一些问题，可能大家会感兴趣的。那这边您分享的时候，就是说你像哈佛呀、斯坦福啊，他们 MBA 毕业或者就是计算机这个专业毕业，他也是会面临找工作或者是找不到工作的一种情况，被 AI 取代，尤其那些重复性的问题。但是我们是不是还是要继续去学这些最基本的底层逻辑的东西，computer science 的东西？因为为什么？是因为我们说现在要用我们的这种 ChatGPT，要用我们 DeepSeek，仍然作为我们的一种工具手段，去创造一个我们自己的 AI agent，然后去解决问题。您刚才说那个 X 加 AI 里面，要先找到一个 problem，你再去解决一个。找到一个解决方案 solution，然后这个就是我们的一个目标，对吧？而且还有一个就是，您觉不觉得是不是就是现在啊、大学对于我们来说的意义是，大学我们要用大学里的这些知识，还有高中阶段这些积累，首先进到一个好大学，然后好的大学，然后呢，我们再利用资源去做自己的 entrepreneurship。大概是不是这个感觉，David 的未来可能不是说学了这些知识要去马上找一份工作，而是要去说，OK，我要怎么创业，我要自己怎么做老板，是不是这种感觉，对吗，David？
是的，所以就是我觉得啊，就是这整体从工作来讲，就是这种以前啊，就是好，大家都会就是好毕业了，在大的公司里面找份工作啊。我现在在韩国，昨天就跟我们一个合作伙伴聊到关于就业，他说韩国也发现很大的问题，因为韩国的学生都喜欢找大的公司，所以这个数据我都觉得很惊讶。他说去年他们招人嘛，招人，去年95%的毕业生没有找到工作。这个数据我就很惊讶。他说几年前大概20%、30%，那因为是讲这些学生，韩国学生他不愿意去小公司上班，或者不愿意自己创业，他都在等大公司，大公司是不再招人了。就很少，就是起码招很少，所以就产生了95%的学生韩国没有就业。那中国就业大概可能大家也清楚，美国一样，所以我觉得以后的途径可能更多是这个创业自己去创造自己的工作，这个可能变成更加重要。
嗯，好的，我觉得您说的非常的正确，但是我觉得在北美，尤其是在美国，那青少年去做创业这边是有更多的热情，更多的一些机会的，对吧？就像您分享的那个样子，因为他们就是处于一个非常蓬勃的一个时代，就是所有的这种新技术、新技能都在这个时代里面。对吧？所以我看到就是说，您分享的时候也看到青少年做创业项目，实际上是现在是一个非常好的一个黄金时代一样的一个时代，对吧？
是的，是的。
嗯，对。 那我们接下来会跟大家说一下我们的这个 AI 智能代理跟青少年创业暑期营的这个开课时间是6月30号，结束在7月18号。那因为刚才 David 老师是用英文讲这个课程，那我把这个亮点再给大家看一下。有一个 format，我们是1.5小时的 lecture，然后半个小时的这个 lab，然后我们会在第三周最后一节课的时候做一个我们的成果展示，因为我们会做一个这个 entrepreneurship 的一个 startup plan。那么刚才有家长在这里面问是我们这个课程的时间，它是会在这个周一到周五来去进行，周六周日休息。6月30号开始是美西时间的晚上的6点半到8点半2个小时。如果是美东的同学的话，那就要到晚上的9点半到11点半。如果说我们有一些家长会暑期把孩子带回国内，那想要在国内上课的话，那就是北京时间的周二到周六的时候的早上的9点半到11点半2个小时来上课。希望大家有听到我刚才就是说的这个上课时间。那同时呢，就是我们这边也提一下问一下问题。嗯，这边说那个有一个家长是问，因为前面 miss 掉了，没有完全看到我们所有的这个讲座内容，问6年级升7年级这个项目合适吗？就刚才其实 David 教授已经说了，最好是 rising to grade 8，就是7年级毕业升8年级会比较合适，对吧
对，就
？David，
最小的学生，我们之前的班里面，基本上大部分是9、10年级和11年级，最小的学生应该就是暑期，就是现在是7年级，所以过完暑期以后就8年级，应该这
嗯，
个年龄段。但如果有特殊的也可以啊，就是可能可以考虑看，或者起码沟通一下嘛。但是
哦，对。
小学生是不建议的。
OK，那这个那个 Samantha，您回头可以加我们的这个私信，就是加 Sting 老师的私信，我们可以再单独聊，我们可以做一个测评，然后再给您一个具体的一个结果。对，那还有一位家长是问这个是 onsite 还是 remote？那这个课程是 remote，是我们在线来去上课的。那夏令营的这个费用的话，我们稍会在群里跟各位大家来去说，上课的形式是 online。对，如果上完暑期课程，我们家孩子希望继续 AI agent 研究，是否有资源，或者可以继续跟随 David 的博士，去研究？那我们会去做相应的一个筛选的一个机制，因为要去做这种研究的话，一个是就是说要有一个明确的一个方向，而且还有一个就是说解决问题的能力也非常的强。这个我们稍后可以做进一步的咨询。这个家长的名字是月，对，呃，这边请问如果是 college 或大三的年纪，还适合这个课程吗？David，他已经是在 college 大三了。
我觉得内容啊是适合的，就是但其实我们也有还有很多家长也想修这个课啊，也适合的，因为很多家长他本来在某个行业，包括我有一个家长他是在做药物研发的，所以他公司里面也在也有这方面的这个方向，所以呢，但是呢你就是可能有两个问题，就一就是呃呃初中生、高中生对这个东西理解可能跟大学生有点差别嘛，就是能力是吧？第二，如果家长的话，可能就偏，我觉得大学生应该可以去，如果他以前没有修过，如果这个学生以前没有修，不是计算机系的，就商业就是别的学科的，可能更加适合一点。但第二就是说，这个学生啊就是因为都是 online 的，可能没有特别的关系。否则，如果都在physical 的这个学生啊，他觉得跟有些大学生，他可能觉得跟这个中学生在一起学习是否合适了？但是我从内容上
嗯
来讲是合适的。
，OK，好的，因为你也可能会有成人的很多的一些家长也希望做进修， 就是多了解 AI 方面的。那么我们很多的家长都问了一下一个问题，就是在线还是线下？那这是在线的课程。那么还有一个就是欢迎没有进我们群的朋友可以进我们的六群，那也可以扫一下我们的微信的视频号和订阅我们的 YouTube 频道。那么有一些家长可能今天就是前面电脑出了一些问题，进不了 Zoom 的会议室，所以呢您可以就是订阅我们的 YouTube 频道，我们到时候会把今天的就是讲座上的一个视频回放，然后呢就是放到我们的 YouTube 频道上面，是一些我们里面的一些比较精彩的一些回放这边请问 Lab 怎么做？对。
这个 lab 是这样，基本上是独立完成的啊，就是就自己去做，但是呢，它会有一些可能在做 lab 时候会有一些问题就是会有更多像一个 round table discussion 那样，就一个 TA 带做，一般我们是一个 TA 带10到12个学生然后呢就是会有一些 TA 会给一些 idea，就 brainstorming brainstorming 就有点像是 get started。就帮助这些学生去开始去他有问题也好或者有些想法需要大家碰撞一下，所以一个 more like a discussion 和一些brainstorming，然后 brainstorming 之后呢，每天可能另外加点的时候，每天课后需要多少时间？我觉得每天课后如果你有2个小时是比较合适的，就是在回去以后就是下课以后或者第二天嘛早上再花2个小时。1到2个小时，一周大概5到10个小时嘛，就课后的时间。
嗯，然后呢，还有一位家长是说，上过 AI camp，做过一些 data science 方面的 work，这个 camp 还适合吗？我觉得应该是适合的，对吧？
Data science 这个跟 data science 没有特别，就是
他们两个没有什么特别明确的关系哈。
对，就是其实你很多 data science camp 都是用一些工具或者对 data analysis 一些技巧，所以这个那就要具体看这个 camp 的内容了所以可能应该没有特别大的这个冲突。
对，因为我们这个营的话，就是说我们主要是说要培养孩子们，就是学习这个 large language model，就是大语言模型，然后做自己的 agent，找到自己感兴趣的那个解决问题的一个点，然后做一个解决方案出来。最后出来的话，培养孩子有一个好的一个，就是可以做一个就是我们 AI 借助 AI 的能力去做这个商业企划书。然后培养他们的一个就是企业家精神的一个思维方式，这个才是重点，对吧？对不对？
对对对。
对，所以呢，其实如果是您是学这个 data science 的话，是 OK 没有问题的。那我们的这个，嗯，还有跟技术相关的问题吗？家长还可以再去问一下。然后我们接下来，我们实际上就是说，对于我们的理工科的学生，方面的一些学生，其实他们在申请下校和未来申请我们的大学的时候，其实有的时候他们的读写能力会有一点点欠缺，所以我们下周末会有一个读写营，然后是我们的这个 Jaden 老师上课，然后呢。大家如果感兴趣的话，可以在群里给我们私信，因为我们现在还剩一个名额，是下周美西的下午的5点半到7点半上课。那这是我们的一个亮点，大家感兴趣的话可以就是看一下，我们也稍后会在群里发一下。好，需要会 Python 吗？
Python 不需要。
嗯，Python 是不需要的。
就是你懂，就是这个东西，这个项目，就是如果你懂 Python，你可能就直接用 API 去写这个 agent 也可以就是有一些学生这样，但是我们对 Python 编程语言是没有要求的。
OK，好的，没有问题。这个我看一下，还有这个说用什么 AI server 需要付费 ChatGPT 吗？
对我们这个 AI agent 的话，需要用这个 AI，就是你需要有这个 ChatGPT Plus，每个月20块钱的这个 account 因为我们要用到它的 agent builder called GPT builder。
嗯，呃，有一个家长问说，请问您了解 Stanford 的这个是 HI 吗？HAI for AI for all online summer program，说问
AI for all，所以那个是比较 这个不是光是 Stanford 的，这最早是 Stanford 的菲菲利和那个 Rick Summer 开始的，现在就变成全国了，就到处都有的。这个应该更多是围绕做把 AI 教育普及化，就是到他会比方说最初的时候，他会在 Palo Alto East Palo Alto 比较贫穷的这种学校啊，就是它的内容应该是我当然我不清楚啊，不清楚啊，所以这个 program 是就 run 就现在是全国都有了就比较是普及性的一个东西，就不是围绕这个，但是具体内容我不清楚或者有没有统一的内容我也不清楚。
嗯，好的好的。那个其实更偏向的是一个 AI 的就是一个知识的一个储备，还有一个普及，对吧？那么这个我们这边就像我刚才说的，就是我们怎么利用 AI，就是先学习 AI 的它的一个底层逻辑是什么，然后掌握好 AI 的一个智能语言的一个这个怎么来去写，怎么来去编，然后怎么来去运用，然后最后呢，把它变成一个你自己的一个工具，做你自己的商业企划书，这个是更多的一个重点。然后呢，需要基本的 computer science 的知识吗？
呃，computer science 的知识就是如果当然就是当然你说不需要是也不对，所以其实是很多小孩其实如果一般这个年龄段的小孩他一直都会用电脑，是吧？其实
嗯
用电脑包括用电脑玩游戏也是用
嗯
电脑，其实这种能力。你不一定是要，当然很多小孩在小的时候也学过 Scratch 这种所以是不需要你有系统的编程的这个培训的。但是你说你但最重要是这种我们说计算思维嘛，这种能力肯定是会有帮助。那如果你以前没有做过系统的计算思维培训，那希望通过这个也会在这方面有一个提高。
嗯，对，好的，谢谢您的回复。然后还有最后一个问题，会教如何用 AI 建网站吗？
我们不会去建网站，其实 AI 跟建网就现在有 AI 工具所以这个东西你也不用学，你网上有很多这种就是像 Wix 这种接 AI 网站的这种公司这种工具本来已经把 AI 融入进去了所以
嗯
这个东西我们不会说你怎么去建一个网站，但是你如果能够学会用这个 AI 工具的话，其实目前建网站也好做 APP 也好，都有很多现成的工具了。
嗯嗯。好的，然后这个家长说也是在等这个 Stanford AI 的那个结果还没有出来，然后他想问一下作业量。作业量的话，您刚才其实也回答了，说大概课后需要每天有2个小时左右的时间来去
对，
做。
每天有2个小时是比较适合的，对。
对，OK。好的，那我们今天基本上就到这儿了，应该没有什么问题了非常感谢大家，非常感谢今天我们的主讲人，我们的David 朱博士稍等，还有最后一个问题，就是我们感兴趣 AI 创业会重点辅导这个吗？
啊、这个就是第三个部分嘛，是吧？就我自己一直在创业，就应该从90年到现在了，所以我现在就在美国也好，国内也好就我现在在韩国，韩国之前我在日本，其实都是跟创业有关，但是这个重点就是1/3，可以这样讲就是
嗯
最后就第3周是围绕着这个。但如果小孩在这方面有兴趣的话，更重要是给小孩这种培养他这个创业这种态度和这种意识吧。那他有了这个，然后有一个框架，其实创业是有一个框架的。他掌握这个框架以后，他其实很多东西就可以自己去继续去拓展了。
嗯，对，因为我们首先 David 他自己本身虽然是学 AI 计算机的，但是他自己本身也是成功创业了多家公司，然后最后也都被成功的收购了，然后自己在创业方面非常有自己的经验。那所以在上这个课的时候，我们的最后一周会 focus 在主要这个跟创业方面有关的这个内容，而且包括你第一周和第二周的基本的底层逻辑，也都是要为最后一周做一个 startup plan，就是商业企划书做铺垫。所以在这个过程当中，相信 David 在他的那1个半小时的那个 lecture 里面是会给大家传递和学生传递很多跟创业有关的相关的一个知识，对吧，David？对，
是的，
因为它是连贯性的，对，先要有那个 problem，你才能有解决方案，对。 那稍后我们会把费用，还有一个就是报名上课接龙的方式、付费的方式都发到我们的群里。如果大家还没有进群的话，请大家在这个北美家长资源分享群的这个六群扫码入群，所有相关跟报名有关的这个信息，我们都会在群里和大家沟通。那么我们这次的报名的名额也非常有限，所以呢，就是位置也是先到先得。那大家感兴趣的话，那我们稍后会把接龙做好，大家赶紧接龙，对，填写我们的这个报名表。对，所以今天非常感谢 David 来做我们的这个分享，还有推广他的课程呢，也非常感谢今天的家长这个播出这个傍晚的时间。那美东的这个家长，然后呢可以就是说都已经到晚上睡觉的时间了，还坚持来听的，那非常感谢大家。那希望大家继续关注我们的北美家长资源分享群，会不断的为大家提供更好的、优质的这个教师、老师的这个资源。请问在哪个群？如果您已经在我们的这个北美家长资源分享群的1到5群，您就不用加了，您就直接到时候在群里等我们通知就可以了。如果您没有进群，那您就请扫描我们的这个左手边的这个第6群，就是北美家长资源分享的6群。好的，那谢谢 David，
啊，
好，拜拜，晚安，哎，晚安大家，
拜拜，晚安，晚安。
嗯。